The world spins, yet you feel stuck. Days blur into weeks, years often feel like echoes of the past. You've chased new beginnings, new situations, new goals, only to find the same patterns returning. It's a subtle tug, a sense that progress is an illusion, that you're moving through the same landscape even as the scenery changes. This isn't just inertia, it's the paradox of stillness. Your internal observer, the one who perceives your reality, hasn't truly shifted. It's like pressing play on the same old recording, expecting a different song to emerge. Yet, the loop continues, persistent and unyielding. And before we dive deeper, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. These revelations aren't random, and if this video found you, it was meant to. Now let's begin. You felt this loop, but never named its true origin. The subtle returns of past struggles, the familiar disappointments, the déjà vu of relationships and opportunities that feel like reruns. These aren't random glitches in the matrix. They are the undeniable proof. They are the gravitational pull of an unshifted observer, holding your reality in perfect, unchanging equilibrium despite your conscious attempts to break free. What if your greatest striving is only reinforcing the very state you wish to escape? This subtle but potent force, this stillness in motion, is merely a precursor to a deeper truth. The observer is the collapse itself. The paradox deepens when you realize you've been actively participating in your own inertia. Your longing for change is real, but your deeper, unexamined self continues to render the familiar. Now we unmask the fundamental engine behind this cycle. The observer is the collapse. You are not merely watching your reality unfold, you are actively collapsing it into being. Each moment, each perception, each subtle filter you apply determines the specific wave of potential that solidifies into your lived experience. It's a constant, instantaneous act of creation. The world isn't out there, fixed and independent. It is a holographic projection brought into coherence by your observing consciousness. Your perception isn't just about interpreting reality. It is the act of collapsing infinite possibilities into a single, concrete outcome. Every time you say, "That's just the way things are," you are enacting a profound quantum event. You are taking a limitless field of potential and freezing it into a specific, tangible form. You are literally pulling one version of reality from the quantum foam, making it solid. This isn't metaphor, it's mechanics. And your subconscious, operating without your conscious consent, is doing the heavy lifting, collapsing your world into a mirror of its deeply held beliefs. But what happens when that mirror is cracked, and those deep beliefs are just echoes of a past you no longer are? This constant act of observation, this never-ending collapse, is directly tied to the construction of your very sense of self, which brings us to the relentless loop of identity, the looping feed. Your identity, what you believe yourself to be, isn't a fixed state. It's a dynamic, continuously rendered projection, a feedback loop of self-perception and external confirmation. Every thought, every feeling, every memory you cling to refreshes the image of who you are. Think of it as a constant broadcast. Your identity is the signal, and your reality is the receiver, constantly tuning into the frequency you emit. And because this signal often operates below conscious awareness, it creates a looping feed, reinforcing the same narratives, the same limitations, the same you over and over again. This looping feed becomes your reality's operating system. It dictates what you notice, what you ignore, what you attract, and what you repel. It's why you might strive for something new, but the old you keeps showing up, pulling reality back into alignment with its established pattern. You are perpetually collapsing reality into the version that validates your existing identity. And if that identity is built on past hurts, perceived failures, or unfulfilled desires, then your present reality will faithfully reflect those very structures. The true challenge isn't changing reality, it's interrupting this looping feed of self, a feed powerfully shaped by an even more subtle mechanism, the invisible filter, how attention edits reality. Your attention isn't just a spotlight. It's a powerful editing tool. What you focus on expands, not just in your mind, but in the very fabric of your perceived reality. Every detail you consciously or unconsciously fixate upon gets amplified, colored, and woven into your personal truth. This invisible filter operates constantly, sifting through the infinite data of existence and presenting you with a curated version. You might think you're seeing everything, but you're only seeing what your internal biases, beliefs, and past experiences deem relevant. This explains why two people can witness the exact same event and walk away with entirely different accounts. Their invisible filters, shaped by their unique identity feeds, have actively edited their perceptions, creating two distinct, yet equally real realities. Your subconscious mind, with its deeply ingrained patterns, has already decided what's important, what's threatening, what's possible, and what's impossible. And it projects that filtered reality back to you, often without your explicit permission. You aren't just observing a filtered world. Your attention is constantly, powerfully, and often unknowingly performing the act of filtering itself. And often, your most intense efforts to overcome these filters only serve to strengthen them. This leads us to the unexpected truth that effort backfires, the paradox of the push. You've been taught that effort equals reward, that pushing harder will break through barriers. But in the realm of quantum manifestation, intense, resistant effort often backfires. The very act of trying too hard to change something can inadvertently signal to the universe that the current, undesirable state is real and needs to be struggled against. This paradoxical push creates more of what you're trying to eradicate. When you battle against lack, you reinforce the reality of lack. When you fight against fear, you give fear more energy and definition. Your forcefulness becomes a form of intense attention, inadvertently collapsing more of the very thing you wish to escape. It's like shouting at a shadow, hoping it will disappear. Your energy, your focus, your intention, however well-meaning, is still directed at the shadow, giving it form and substance. The universe responds not to your desire for change, but to the vibrational frequency of your struggle itself. This isn't about being lazy, it's about discerning the quality of your effort. Is it born from resistance and pushing, or from calm alignment and a knowing intention? This understanding reveals that mere struggle often fixes the existing reality in place, subtly creating more friction. The true shift comes not from brute force, but from observing how this plays out in the subtle, repeating patterns of your life, which are the micro-proof, the glitch experiments. Life is constantly presenting you with subtle anomalies, small synchronicities, and repeating patterns that function as micro-proof. These are glimpses behind the curtain, glitches in the matrix of your perceived reality, showing you how your inner state is actively shaping the external. Have you ever thought of someone and they immediately called, or noticed a recurring number sequence that seems to follow you? These aren't random coincidences. They are minute, experimental collapses, demonstrating the direct link between your inner world and outer events. These glitches are like tiny cracks forming in the illusion of a fixed, objective reality. They are signals showing you the elasticity of the world around you, subtly urging you to decode the patterns of your own observation. Each one is an invitation to question what you believe to be solid. They are reality providing immediate feedback, showing you that your consciousness is far more powerful and generative than you've been led to believe. And these little proofs are tied to a deeper language, an underlying structure that your subconscious understands implicitly, which is revealed through the symbols, numbers, and the code break. Beyond the literal, reality communicates through a language of symbols and numbers. These aren't just decorative elements, they are hidden code, constant signals transmitting information about your current energetic resonance and the patterns you are collapsing into existence. Think of recurring numbers like 11, 333, or 777 as energetic signatures, markers in the code of your personal simulation. They appear when certain frequencies are strongly activated within your awareness, showing you what themes are currently manifesting, often unconsciously. Symbols in your dreams, in synchronicities, or even in advertisements you suddenly notice are also pieces of this code. A recurring bird, a specific color, a certain archetypal image. These are not random. They are reflections, often subconscious, of your current internal landscape and the unfolding potentials it holds. By learning to recognize and interpret these symbols and numbers, you begin to break the code of your own reality. You start to see the hidden instruction set that your observer is running, and you realize that your world is constantly speaking to you, revealing its true nature. These aren't external messages, they are internal reflections, often highlighting a stubborn linger of the past. This leads us to confront the persistent shadow of reality lag, the ghost of the old self. Even when you consciously decide to shift, to embrace a new identity, there's an inherent delay, a persistent echo of your former self. This is reality lag. It's like an outdated software program still running in the background, subtly influencing the new operating system. Your past thoughts, habits, and energetic imprints have a momentum of their own. They continue to broadcast a signal, even as your conscious intention tries to project a new one. This lag explains why change can feel slow, why old patterns stubbornly resurface, even when you know better. This ghost of the old self isn't a failure on your part. It's a natural phenomenon in the quantum field, where energy doesn't dissipate instantly. It must unwind, decohere, allowing the new signal to become dominant. Your external reality is simply catching up to the slowest part of your inner transformation. It's crucial to understand that this lag isn't permanent. It's a fading echo, but while it persists, it can feel like you're being pulled back, revealing that even as you try to author your own story, others are still powerfully scripting elements of your existence through a process known as passive rendering. When others script you, you may believe yourself to be the sole author of your reality, but a significant portion of your experience is passively rendered by the perceptions and expectations of others. Their beliefs about you, conscious or unconscious, project a specific reality onto you, often without your knowledge. Think of it as a collective observation field. When many people hold a similar perception of you, your capabilities, your limitations, your personality, that collective observation begins to collapse a specific version of your potential into existence. They are, in essence, coding part of your world. This isn't about blaming others, it's about recognizing the intricate interconnectedness of consciousness. Their subconscious filters also act as miniature versions of your own observer, subtly influencing the probabilities around you. This is why breaking free from certain patterns often requires a shift in your environment or even your circle, disrupting their script for you. You are not immune to the projections of others, but you are also not powerless. Understanding this passive rendering allows you to actively choose who you allow into your energetic field and whose scripts you subtly reject. Ultimately, the power shifts when you embrace the inevitable next stage of your evolution, which is collapsing forward. Become the version that already rendered. The future you desire isn't some distant, improbable outcome. It is a version of reality that has already rendered in the quantum field. It exists as a complete, coherent possibility, waiting for your current observer to align with its frequency. Your task isn't to create this future, but to become the observer that matches it. To truly collapse forward, you must embody the thoughts, emotions, and decisions of the person who has already achieved that reality. You are stepping into a pre-existing blueprint. This means releasing the struggle, the doubt, and the identity tied to the not-yet-achieved self. It requires a profound act of faith and intentional alignment, where your present self begins to act as if that future is already here, already now. This isn't mere positive thinking, it's a quantum shift in your observational point. You are moving your consciousness to the timeline where that reality is already manifest. And this profound realignment necessarily requires a stripping away, an unburdening of the old, culminating in the death of the old observer. The grand shift, the true collapse into a new reality, demands the death of the old observer. This isn't a literal passing, but a complete deconstruction of the identity, the filters, the unconscious biases, and the looping feed that defined your past self. This stage is often met with resistance, fear, and a sense of loss, even if what you're losing is precisely what held you back. The old observer was familiar, comfortable, and predictable, even in its limitations. To step into the new, you must allow that familiar structure to disintegrate. It's akin to a snake shedding its skin. The process can be uncomfortable, even painful, as the old version peels away, leaving you vulnerable, but also radically open to new possibilities. Every belief you held about who you were, what you deserved, and what was possible must be re-examined. This death is a liberation. It clears the slate, dissolving the invisible filters and the looping feed, making space for an entirely new collapse of reality to emerge. But once the old observer is gone, a profound question naturally arises. Who is watching the watcher? With the old observer shed, a vacuum is created. The familiar lens through which you perceived the world has dissolved. This can be disorienting, a sense of being unbound, of existing outside the familiar narratives of self and reality. Who, then, is observing this state of non-observation? This is where true quantum awareness begins. You realize that you are not merely the identity or the filters, but the pure, unconditioned awareness that watches those identities and filters arise and dissolve. You are the space in which all observation happens. This deeper awareness is not bound by the limitations of the ego or the conditioning of the past. It is silent, vast, and capable of holding infinite potentials without needing to collapse them prematurely. It is the fundamental consciousness beneath all experience. This shift moves you from being a limited character in a story to becoming the pure, expansive awareness that contains the story itself. It's a leap beyond identity, beyond perception, into the raw, unadulterated field of being. This fundamental shift itself represents the culmination of all previous insights, embodying the ultimate revelation that this was the collapse. Every repeating pattern, every moment of déjà vu, every missed opportunity, every struggle that mirrored a past failure, these weren't random. They weren't proof of your weakness or the world's indifference. They were all intricate parts of a single, continuous quantum event, the collapse of your reality maintained by an unshifted observer. Your suffering was not meaningless. It was the friction created by your old self attempting to maintain a frequency that no longer served you. All along, the universe was not judging you, but faithfully reflecting the internal landscape you were inadvertently collapsing into being. This journey through the paradoxes of perception, the invisible filters, the looping identities, and the truth of passive rendering all leads to this singular point. The understanding that you are the ultimate architect of your world, not through striving, but through shifting. The unraveling of these hidden mechanisms isn't just theory, it is the blueprint of your own experience. You haven't been stuck. You have been in a continuous state of collapse, and now you understand its mechanics. This was the collapse, and you are no longer bound by its old design. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.